Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you are doing well. Thank you so much for coming on by. My name is, okay. I always open this way, and then I always forget that I'm not called that anymore. So I am John O'Canute. Hopefully you're doing well. I am running my rig here for my show. I've got it all put together. Hopefully it sounds okay. Let's go ahead and have a listen. Sounds good on this side. Okay, cool. All right, lots of volume, which is the number one thing we want to check all the time when we start here. I've got a little different video set up here. So thankfully, Studio Monitor is able to flip the image. And so now it's actually correct to what vMix shows, which is amazing. And then I've got my audio bars on the right-hand side, so I can see that the audio is going out. It's going into this machine. I'm monitoring the show that way. So really great. I'm able to look at you and see all my stuff. So always good that is working as expected. Good stuff. So yes, I always forget, however, whatever my name is. So, hey, what's your name again? Yes. So John O'Canute. And today, today's show is not brought to you by Ember Mugs. Keep your coffee hot and your creamer curdled. Jeremy would be proud if he's here that I am using my Ember mug today. I thought of him as I was getting it ready, although I did have to fish a fruit fly out of my coffee when I poured it because I grabbed it off the counter and it must have died inside. So that's cool. Maybe some extra protein today. Who knows what's swimming in your coffee, but yeah, we'll deal with it. Hopefully it is actually, the creamer is starting to create a little film. So I gotta drink it quickly or else it'll become undrinkable. All right. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm not going to look at that too much because it grosses me up. I have been having this really annoying battle today with the remote connection, NDI remote connection. So I do run a Discovery server in my own little NDI office. I have my own little NDI mini network set up, and it's designed. Well, I mean, it's an AV network. You can run Dante as well. I just don't right now. And I've got a Discovery server, which runs on screen number 3, kind of off to the corner, off to the side, but it's a way that I monitor the way that the signals are working. And I've had some networking problems today, but it's not really been a big deal. Got that all ironed out before the show started. I actually had another meeting closer to 9 o'clock today, so I've had an hour to kind of get things up and running and working correctly. vMix is performing admirably, as always, and I was just working on some network stuff. In particular, the Netgear Nighthawk system that I run in this house for my wireless stuff, because I wanted to get away from the conglomerate known rhyming with Oogle. I didn't want to use their wireless stuff anymore. I've just kind of been migrating a little bit, like using them less overall, including searching and whatever, but just because it's mostly data harvesting. If the truism is, if the service is free, you are the product. So I've switched over to doing some more different services that don't track me as much. Everything is tracking you, by the way, all the time, your phone, all your stuff. But I'm just trying to do maybe a little bit less and not just go after every single thing that they offer. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm completely safe or not deliberately using some of those services. I am. My house is Smart Things Home, so, there it is. But I decided to go away from that and go to a company that that I'm quite comfortable with, being Netgear. Chad says, wait a minute, you didn't want Unify? So I have used Unify in the past, and I use them in business world. I had them as a home system for a long time, and they were okay. It seemed like, I hate to say it, but they seemed like all of the problems were fixed in the next thing that you didn't buy. And that really annoyed me. But that's just the nature of manufacturing, unfortunately. I mean, that's more true across the globe than I care to admit. But that is the way that it kind of always felt to me, is like I would have a product and it wasn't getting great speeds. And they said, well, you bought, this is way back in the day. Well, you didn't buy the AC version, you bought the N version. And so the N version's obviously going to be slower. You should get an AC unit. You'll notice a big difference. And then when I got the money together to buy an AC unit, it's like, well, you didn't get the AX unit. And I was like, well, for crying out loud. Like, just anyway. So that's just the way manufacturing goes, is the way that my money worked back then. Was I would never have enough money to buy the latest and greatest thing. And so I'd end up buying it, and then they'd come out with a new one like 6 months later. So really annoying that that's the way that worked. So Unify, I use them in multiple applications, once in a professional level, once in a home that I had back in Michigan, not my last home in Michigan, but the home before that. Worked pretty well. It delivered wireless enough. I ended up hardline, like they could do the satellite thing where they could feed each other, but I actually ended up running hard lines to everything. So I ran a main line up from my switch into my attic, because I didn't have a basement. It was on a slab, much like Tennessee. I ran it up to the attic, and then in the attic I had a switch that then fed 3 access points throughout the house in the attic. And I got really good performance because each of them were not trying to talk to each other. Now, the Nighthawk system is actually quite resilient when it comes to connecting to one another, as long as you have enough access points. So I initially bought a router and 2 satellites, and they worked okay, but they really didn't give me the coverage that I wanted. And so I bought actually a refurbished set of another router and 2 access points. Matter of fact, the router is right here, still in the bag. And the other 2 satellites connected fine. So now I have, what do I have? 4 satellites and 1 router. 2 access points upstairs, 2 access points downstairs. And that seems to cover this house square footage, which is like 2,300 square feet. That seems to cover it adequately. Now, if there is a malfunction with the router, there is no self-repair. You have to reboot. There's no exception to that rule. And so that's been a bit annoying. Today I logged in, as an example, and found out that all the satellites were disconnected. And I went into the system and it said it couldn't find them. I rebooted the actual satellites. There's one sitting here right over my shoulder, which is why I keep looking over there. I rebooted them individually. They did not reconnect. I restarted the router and everything reboot. Now, that's not uncommon. Okay, that's not a deal breaker. The routers run indefinitely, all right? And I have always had a rule in my house that every 30 days or once a month, I restart my wireless. And I did not do that for the past month. So it's been running with a cache longer than a month and a half. I never restarted the system. And that I have found in wireless systems, especially home wireless systems, you just got to reboot the system once a month. Like, just do it. It just cleans out the cobwebs. It eliminates the cache. It eliminates things that are getting hung up. And I did not do that. So I went downstairs. Actually, I didn't. I rebooted the router from my phone, and everything went offline, and then everything came back online all on its own, which is what you really want. Because if I'm away from the house and my wife reports that they don't have very good wireless coverage, I want to be able to reboot it soft from anywhere in the world, and then, have that sort of guarantee that it is all going to come back. However, you can hard reboot it, and the way to do it, especially if you have a smart house, is to put the router on a smart house receiver, and then you can just flip it on and off. Now, the question becomes, if you restart your internet, how does your smart house talk to you on the outside? Great question. So I don't necessarily know what the answer is to that, other than having it on an auto timer. So, for example, if the house goes offline and it doesn't have internet, it can still operate within the network that it's kind of. So if the little, SmartThings hub or whatever, if you're using AOTech or whatever, you're using a little hub like that, you can actually set it up so that the unit will automatically turn the router back on after 30 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. I had that rule implemented on it It was a device at my other house. What was it? It was basically if this gets turned. Oh, it was the freezer. So I had a deep freeze, and if for some reason the deep freeze that button got turned off, it would automatically turn it back on and send me a text message and say, and not a push notification because that requires the unit to be connected to Wi-Fi. It would send me a text message, which is based on the service, probably still connected to the internet, but it worked pretty well where it would say deep freeze is offline, restarting, and then I would know something happened there where the deep freeze got turned off. So it would be plugged into a Z-Wave, and then it would tell me its status. I also had a way then to measure the wattage being used and whatever. So, yeah, good times. And people over on Twitch, which is pretty rare for me. Hey, what's up? Love connecting through your streams. You're killing it. It's inspiring to watch you grow. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, user Mini. Appreciate it. Anyway, it's usually some sort of phishing scheme, but all good. Hey, anybody's welcome to chat, and we'll act accordingly. So I've been having this battle with NDI remote connection. It keeps restarting, and I'm watching it on the. I went kind of down a rabbit hole about having network issues this morning. Anyways, I'm watching it on my Discovery server, which runs permanently in the corner of a screen, and I keep seeing it turn on and my machine reporting, hey, remote connection has been restarted. So I keep killing it. I basically need to go in, though, and corrupt the boot up process so that it just can't do that, because I don't want NDI remote connection to be running randomly for no reason. I would like to tell it to run it if I want it, and I never want it. So please, NDI, stop writing software like viruses, because that's super annoying. We should have full control over whether or not the program is running or not. Anyway, today's show is about a new product that I'm going to be trying out. I'm installing it tomorrow, and so I wanted to give a brief overview as to what it is, why you might consider using it. I found this on a video blog on YouTube from a company in Norway who was basically using this as a way to monitor focus on a remote camera. And so they were able to manipulate the focus on the camera with a wireless, focus ring. But they kind of tuned me into this product. We have used wireless Hollyland products in the past. We were using them to send the video signal, which is not a great idea. The Hollyland units that we have are the slower ones, and I could even look them up and find out exactly which ones they are. Let me do that while I chat with you here. But these ones are the ACCSOON CineView SE multi-wireless video transmission systems. And they are essentially for monitoring your, whoa, almost knocked my coffee over on my desk. Oh, yikes. All right, I'm going to put that over there out of reach. All right, so these little units you can buy over on, this is Sweetwater. You can buy them over on Sweetwater, under $500, dual band. And I'll talk about all of the specs here in a second. But the company that kind of tuned me into this is basically using them as a way to monitor in real time the stream, the camera that they're using it on. They just mount it in a little mount, and then they run a battery off the back of it. Now, I will likely be running DC power off of these just because I don't need the battery running gun stuff. But again, I'll talk about my use case here in just a minute. But they're dual band, which means that they are taking both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz and combining whatever data they get to create the image on the other side. And it's not switching between bands, which is what a lot of companies do. They either have dual band, but they pick one, and whatever the stronger signal is, that's the image that they show. These guys are actually taking both images and reconstructing it to give you whatever it is that you are seeing on the receive side. So I find that a fascinating idea as to combining two wireless bands to create a single source. I think that is an interesting way to do that. And they get pretty good reviews. They get, for being sub 500, under $1,000 video transmission system, they get pretty good reviews. Now, they do sell them individually, and there's a reason for that. The reason for that is that you are able to have just a transmitter and use their iPad or iPhone app to see the transmission, which if you're on the wireless band that they are on, you'll be able to see whatever it is that your camera or your SDI input is showing on the transmitter. So you can download the app for free, and then you can use just the transmitter and connect up to 4 iPads or phones, okay? Not and phones, but or phones. So 4 receivers on that same wireless band. And this will allow you to have the controls on your iPad and see, what it is that the transmitter is shipping out. And so initially, when we're going to install this tomorrow, we're going to use just the transmitter, and we're going to use my, iPad Pro to view the stream. And the thing that I really want to see is I want to see the peaking information and the zebra information off the camera. This product will do peaking and zebras, and it will show them on my output. So I can put this either on a camera, or I can have an output on the Constellation ME2 that we have, the Blackmagic, and I can assign that output to any basically output that the Constellation can do. So the plan is I'm going to have this product, the transmitter, taking in a signal from the Constellation ME2, and that signal is going to be my preview, not my program, but my preview. The reason for that is while we're in production, I'm loading the camera that I'm about to go to into preview, and I'm having them adjust their focus and line it up and all that sort of good stuff. I'm having them do that on a multi-viewer that I'm watching, multi-viewer 1, out of the Constellation. The problem is that I can't seem to get the peaking information on preview for the multi-viewer. And I want to see that information. Now, there are multiple ways that you can do that. You can HDMI out, for example, and this little unit will have HDMI and SDI. The SE version has the SDI. If you go here to the side view, so HDMI and SDI in and out, it will do both. There is an HE version, which is just HDMI only, which is fine if that's what your rig is. But we are actually going to use these for the SDI function, and that is going to be an output on the Constellation into the SDI in on the transmitter. And then that feed is going to be my preview for my preview and program. And then on that preview, out of this device, I'm going to have the peaking information. And I'm going to see that on my iPad. Now, why would we buy both? Well, that's because eventually we are going to have the director move out of the technical booth and into his own space where he will have a TV, and we will do HDMI out into that TV, and that will probably be multi-viewer 2. So that's the plan, is our producer will be in the booth and our director will be out of the booth. We all have headsets, so it's like we're all in one big room. Anyways, and so these little units, the SE units, and they're under $500. These little units will do all that, plus the receiver will be mounted to the back of the TV, HDMI out into the television, but I can also use an iPad. So I can also use iPad, iPhone. I can give that to people that are down on the floor. I can give that to other people who are training, whatever, This is going to be a great advance in terms of what it is that we can do. Now, the delay on this is about 120 milliseconds, and so it will be slightly delayed, but we're not using this for recording, and we're not using this for live video. We're just using this as a reference stream. So I'm pretty happy with the way that that's kind of working out. I think it's going to be a great little product for that. And so, again, under $500. I'm not sponsored by this video. You can run these off batteries, by the way. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I'm just trying them out to see how they go. And next week, then, I can give you my honest review as to what it is that I think, what I think about these products, because I'll be able to use them for a week. So you can get them on Sweetwater. You can also get them over on Amazon if that's something that you would rather do. But great places like this, probably B&H Photo has them as well. They have a whole lineup of products that you probably should take a look at. Initially, I was just going to get something like this, Nano Wireless Video Monitoring Transmitter, but it only does HDMI, and the Constellation doesn't have any HDMI outputs. So I would have to go HDMI out of each of the cameras to do that, and then that gets into not really what I want to do. So we're going to use these. This is the SE model right here. There's also an HE model, which is just HDMI only. It's a little bit cheaper if that's what your rig is, but I find it to, might as well use these for just go like all in. Now, the one thing I guess I didn't look into is in the box, do they have power supplies? They should, right? Transmitter features. Where is it in the box? It doesn't actually have one, does it? Let's go to... because I hope I can power them. I do have a battery. I think. I do have a battery that will fit this because we just got a video monitor for Cam 1, and I'll talk through that as well. But we just got a video monitor for Cam 1, which is the same battery for this. So we will be using this week. I just don't know. They don't come with batteries. I know that much. But I don't know what else comes in the box. If there's a... because it also looks like on the side here, right? It looks like 5 volts in, so you could power it with USB-C, which would be fine. So we will find out. We'll find out what the options are. Chad says, hey, if I remember right, to turn off the NDI remote, you have to go in the spot where you add the new remote connections, and instead of adding one, you remove the default one, and that should stop it. Okay, well, the NDI remote has restarted, so let's go into here. Oh, that's a QR code. Invite someone to share their camera. Okay, so let's try that again. We're going to... let's try this. When you add a new remote connection, and instead of adding one, you remove the default one, that should stop it. All right, so... oh. Okay, so source removed. It's still running, but yes, revoke all. That did remove the source from... yes, it did, actually. That's interesting. Well done, Chad. See? Not just a pretty face. Good stuff. I'm just going to check on what's going on here. Moves this ahead to live. Okay. So, all right. Well, that does seem to... now, if I restart my computer, is it going to turn on remote connection 1, or is it going to remember that I turned that off? We will find out, I guess, right? We'll find out. Okay. So, this is that little dual band ACCSOON. I don't want to go into a huge amount of talk about it, but I am pretty excited because the thing that... so my camera operators on the floor have the ability to, check their peaking and all that sort of good stuff, right? I don't. I have to kind of guess up in the booth. Even though we have Blackmagic cameras, even though we have... it's Blackmagic pretty much all the way through from camera to video production suite. So you would think that would be an option, that you could toggle that on and off inside the preview, but I don't find anywhere that's possible to do that. So I'm just going to have a secondary output that just shows me whatever's in preview, because that is when I am lining up those shots anyways, and I'm checking the peaking. So this will give me the ability to assist the camera operators. These are not like legit, these are not career camera operators. These are volunteers. So any assistance that I can provide is probably helpful. So we will see how that goes. But I'm pretty excited about it. I'm always excited to try new gear, and I can give my honest review next week as to whether or not this is going to do what it is that we want to do. Now, if you keep the receiver off, you can use 4 devices, like I said, so 4 iPads or phones or a combination of the two. If you turn the receiver on, then you're limited to 3. So 4 is the max that you're able to do. But I'm going to run this basically in a place where I can walk around with an iPad and see whatever it is that Preview is seeing. When we change to running this on a television, then you know what? The peaking is individualized, I think. I think you turn it on the app, if I'm not mistaken. Let's download the app right now. Yes, ACCSOON C is what it's called. And let's just see if that, I don't know if this will focus on this or not, but, double click to install. All right, so here it goes. Let's go ahead and download. I've also gotten this system to a place where I've got a hard line that comes up directly from the router. So it's a 100-foot cable, comes up and plugs into my computer. I've gotten it down to where when I start the show, I can pretty much just switch over to the hardline version and it goes directly out to Starlink. My performance on these videos seems to be a whole lot better when I'm hardlined. Shocker, I know. Which doesn't really attest too great for the use of the wireless access point, MIMO design honestly, I haven't really been very impressed with any of those in terms of using high bandwidth requirements. Always plug in. I mean, I've been singing this tune since my Bird Dog days. Always go wired. Never, ever, 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 unless you absolutely have no option. It's just, like a brick fortress or something, and you can't go wired. Always run a wire to wherever it is that you're going to go. And it started before I ever worked for Bird Dog. When I was hardwiring in those access points at my house, I would just find that performance was just way below par. And it would work, but it would work to like maybe browse the internet, but certainly no high bandwidth stuff, no gaming, no streaming, none of that stuff. You need to pretty much plan to always run a wire to things that you want to operate in high performance. And so anytime you're running a camera, anytime you're running live streaming, anything like that, you're going to want to never run it over a wireless bridge. Now, the one exception to that is those satellite 2x2, like Unify used to make those dual satellites. Those actually were pretty good, but the performance on those were still sub 100 megs. They were never 1 gigabit speeds. And so, always run a wire. Never compromise on that. Yes, the best wireless option. Well said. The best wireless option is the shortest wireless. Yes. Again, it's the reason why you're using wireless. It's like, well, I can't get up there, I don't know. For example, NDI over wireless, everybody's saying, not everybody, manufacturers are saying, it's great. Now you don't even need to run a wire. It's, man, seeing is believing in this instance. And long-term, hang on. I think remote just added source, remote connection 1, but it's turned off. What on earth? So now it says remote connection 1 is on, but it is not. And yet, here it is. Yo, what is going on here? I even turned it off and it came back on. Gosh, this is like a virus. So look at this. I've turned this off. Remote connection 1 is off. And yet, looky here. Source added. What is going on? Why? Why is this a stinking virus? I don't know, guys. So annoyed. If I could stick the wireless mic antenna in the podium, I would. So that is the truth. Like, for example, I work with a lot of churches that have their like wireless microphones, and they always plug them in back at the sound booth. And I'm like, no. The wireless microphone is just to eliminate the XLR wire on stage. It's not to eliminate the snake. Like, it's a common installation error, I think. I mean, I think it's a flaw. Your wireless receivers should be on stage, off in the corner. That's all it's doing, is eliminating the XLR that goes from the microphone to the floor. But the snake doesn't get removed. Those wireless receivers should be at the front of the stage. That's it. Their requirements should not be to throw them 70, 80, 100 feet across the auditorium. No. Hard line everything. That is it's so weird. And they're like, well, we'll get the dolphin fins and we'll put them up in the... No, stop. Those are also for on stage. They're not to be installed in the back of the auditorium. They're to be installed next to the wireless microphone. And they're like, well, why would you get wireless? It's like, so that you don't have a wire. That's why. But you don't eliminate the infrastructure. You don't take away the... Like, anyway. Soapbox, I'll get off of it right now. But it's the same thing as what Chad's saying here. If I could put the wireless mic antenna in the podium, I would. Absolutely. But you don't normally... You still buy a snake. You still go run up to the stage. And that's what the beauty of, like, those the S16, like, Behringer drop boxes that run over Ethernet, that are over the AES network, or other proprietary, Ethernet style. Because once it gets to ones and zeros, that data can travel very quickly and very far. But you never eliminate the need for a snake, whether that's a digital Ethernet snake or it's a physical XLR snake or whatever. You would not eliminate those by putting the wireless receivers at the back of the auditorium. And I see that all the time. Oh, we have wireless now. It's like they still get installed at the front of the stage or right behind the wall of the front of the stage. And then you run a snake to the back. Always. Anyways, but people think, oh no, we don't need to do that. Especially when it's all Dante. Well, yeah, if you convert it to Dante, then, the sky's the limits. Then you just have a network, right? I have, in previous lives, if I had understood that concept more fully, I would have done things differently. And now that I do, we will... Every install I ever do from here on in. I asked, for example, a sound guy, I said, why do you run these boxes up here, way up in the booth? Like, you're stressing the system. You don't need it to. It's all digital. It could all come back via, network. And he says, well, I like to see the battery level. I'm like, if that is so important to you, then you get the app. Or you get a device that has an app that will report the battery level. But anyway... Yes. So Michael Graves, hey, what's going on, Michael? I see you on a whole bunch of live streams. Always minimize the wireless link. And I fully agree, by the way. Were you? It seems like you and I are in lockstep about a lot of things. Were you commenting in office hours maybe a week ago? Because they said Michael Graves says, and I was like, oh, I think I know who that is. Yeah, we got the Shure wall mount paintable antenna and made them part of the set. Boom. I mean, that's the reason why it's paintable, first of all, right? But that's correct. You integrate it. That's what integrators do. And that is the sign of an integrator that actually integrates his technical equipment with the rest of whatever is going on. So well done. This is the way. See? Here we go. Like-minded individuals. Hey, if you don't walk lockstep with me and Michael Graves and Mr. Chad, you're totally welcome to disagree with me, by the way. This is a conversation. This is not the way that John thinks everything should go. I will give my opinion, but the point of having, for example, wireless stuff is not to make it do it at its extreme. And I think that needs to be said. By the way, Ember Mug today. Jeremy, if you're out there, I'm thinking of you. I think that goes hand in hand again with this stinking wireless NDI crap that's going on. First of all, it does not interest me in the least, and I'll tell you why. There's too many unknown variables in this world when it comes to wireless video. Now, I just got done talking about, by the way, us integrating this CineView SE multi-spectrum wireless video transmitter. There's a reason why I'm doing that. This is a reference video. This is video system. This is not live video. And so a little bit of delay, not a big deal. It's so that I can assist my camera operators while they're running cameras. That's why we're getting this system, not for video transmission. So the wireless aspect, if it drops frames, if it freezes up, if it doesn't work perfectly, my rig still goes on. I revert back to the multi-viewer. It's not the end of the world. But when you're talking about live video out of a camera over the Wi-Fi system, come on, man. Like, no, thank you. Yeah, I dropped into After Hours for a bit. There you go. Well done. And don't get me started on fixed IPs. Michael and I have been sharing a soapbox for a long time about static fixed IPs. Yeah, it's okay. Look, and we talked about this with somebody over on Facebook recently, right? Michael and I. You can set it up on static IPs. You're just creating work for yourself in the future. That's all you're doing. You're creating a complicated set of problems in the future. And it's totally unnecessary if you just take 15 minutes to learn about reservation lists. That's all we're saying. I run reservation lists in my home network, okay? The main vMix machine is assigned an IP address from the DHCP. This vMix computer that runs my secondary stuff and all that, again, assigned IP. The lights that are connected via wireless, assigned IPs. Because I use them in Companion, and Companion requires to know what the IP address is. So we can assign it an IP address. Just do it on the DHCP reservation list or whitelist or whatever it's called, and assign an IP there. And then you have a central point of customization, which is on the router, which can be accessed on any device on my network, as long as you know the password. And you can adjust things as needed. But it's a whole lot less than walking around all the devices in my house and setting up the static. The Nintendo Switch that I have downstairs for the kids and me. The static IP address, okay? Just so I know where it is and I can work on it. But like if I don't want it to and I just want to run a DHCP, no problem. Just turn it off right here on my computer, in my office, in a different part of the house. I can do all of that from here, from a computer. So you're just creating a lot of work for yourself in the future by assigning static IP addresses. And I realized, like, I couldn't say this when I was at Bird Dog, but I realized what it was when I was there. It was integrators who don't know anything about networks. And when somebody's like, yeah, we just assign static IP addresses, in my brain, I automatically say, I wouldn't hire you for a job. I wouldn't. Because you know very little about networks, and the thing you're doing, the backbone is a network. I wouldn't hire you to do it. Just because if you say that's my default, that's my go-to, just because it's simple for the customer. The customer knows all the IP addresses. Stop. You're stop talking, because you're saying the things out loud that betray you as an integrator. You're not worth hiring. Sorry. And now that I don't work for a manufacturer, I can say that. I wouldn't hire them. It's okay, by the way, to do that. I wouldn't hire you. It's just it's bad practice. It's not a good way to do it. And now that I'm my own, I don't even work for a manufacturer or an integrator or anything like that. There it is. All right. I'm preaching. It's a pleasure to have you here, Michael. And you too, Chad. I see you. Always good to have you guys around. So, yeah, what else do we need to cover here? I gave up. So remember I did a review on an Audio-Technica set of headphones? Well, they're here at the house now. I was using them for an intercom system that we had, and we instantly outgrew the starter pack that we bought. And so we bought a hub that enables you to use your own set of headphones. And so I bought this set of Audio Technica headphones that have a TRS or TRRS jack on the end. And they're open back so that I could talk to my other engineers that are in the booth that are not on headsets, but they have a microphone built in. And I used it for about a month, and then I gave up on it, and we ordered more headsets. And we don't use the hub. And the primary reason is it's either the hub or this headset, and I'll do a little bit of testing with it. But they were saying it was hard to hear, that my microphone was cutting in and out, that it wasn't working right. And so I was like nuts to this. And I turned to my lead technician who's in charge of our tech budget, said, order me 2 more headsets. And he did. And then last week I said, order 2 more. And he did. So we're fully functional now with all of our stuff. But the headset system that we used, and I could pull that up, I guess, was ordered on B&H. Yeah. Let me just Google it while integrators who want the same IP address at every client so their techs don't have to know everything. So when you scale to 1,000 clients, when you scale to thousands of clients. Look, I understand it. You could still do it with DHCP reservations and just train your technicians with that. It's so much easier. Well, you could literally show up with your own device, connect to their network with your computer and have full access to it everywhere. But instead, I don't see how this would advocate for doing static IP addresses. Still not. You could have the same IP network everywhere you go and run it in DHCP reservations and have the same login credentials and have the same hardware and have the same everything, but it's a method, right? And so maybe it's like, well, we're too big to change. Fair enough, but you're still crappy integrators then. The difference being you're crappy and you actually know what you're doing. That's the difference. For me, at least, that's how I see it. Okay, so the system that we're using that we bought for the intercom is a Ceramonic set, and I think they're a 1.9 gigahertz wireless system, which is sufficient for like over the ear stuff. Maybe we paid this much for them, but this system works pretty well. The issue that I have with it is we don't have this little wired headset. We had a master wireless headset. Works pretty well. The thing I don't really care about with this set is you are limited to, I think it's like 6 in a master or maybe 7 in a master, and we outgrew it really fast. And so then we went to try and buy the hub for it, and they were really hard to find. And so we had to like special order that from China. And then we could expand to like 19 headsets, which is great. So we have lots of headsets. We got extras, and so I can put trainees on them, and I can put whoever I need to if I want. If we have guests and they want to kind of like be behind the scenes, we can help them with that sort of thing. So we got lots of these headsets, and they work really well for what they are. I actually quite like these. They're comfortable. They're a little tight on the head, like there's really no relief, but they work pretty well. And now that we have the full system, that works pretty good. Now it doesn't integrate. It's not ClearComm, but the price was not ClearComm either. So for what we paid, we're probably into about $1,000 or $1,100 now with all the parts that we've bought. But we have 12 headsets or something like that. So, and that's big enough for our team. Moreover, you can dump the DHCP res table and have a work dock on the network. Easily restored backup. Boom. Yes, DHCP. Yes. It's there. You can make an easily restorable backup file, and you could even, if you're just duplicating systems, you could even export that and import it in your next rig. But anyways, that's besides the point. So it would be a whole lot faster to integrate if you had, for example, a 4250 and you had a configuration where you had 20 a range of 20 IP addresses for Dante, 20 for NDI, 20 for blah, 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 blah. You can just export that and import that, and it would literally take you 10 minutes to have it set up and running. But I digress. People like to have their static IP addresses. Like I said, people have been doing that for a long, long, long time. But when somebody says that to me, an integrator says that to me, I think, man, where have you been? Like, you've literally taken the easiest road to make money. And it's just fraught with things that are going to go wrong. So it wouldn't be for me. That's all. All right. It's okay. I get on this soapbox a lot. It's all good, guys. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's just not for me. Now, I've had this thought, and I don't know. I need to get a audio interface that can do 3.5 microphone. I would like to start doing having the flexibility to use my Rode wireless system. But as you know, it is only, this is the microphone. It is only 3.5, sorry. Shake the whole camera system. It's only 3.5. And I'd like to just be able to clip it on or run a wire or something and do hands-on, over the head type of demonstrations with, I have a camera here that I could use that for. And I'm kind of limited with the RA20, although the audio is perfect. I am limited in terms of doing over the desk kind of tutorial stuff. And so I'm looking at trying to get just a USB-A to microphone adapter that I can use. I think it's not rocket science, but I don't know about the quality. That's kind of what I'm a little bit hesitant on. I don't see any brands that I'm particularly like, ooh, that's a good brand. A lot of audio, USB to audio jacks, but not USB to microphone jacks. Ugreen tends to be all right. Maybe something like this, where it would be a sound card jack, where you could use it for input of microphone. And then I could bring that into vMix. I have USBs open on the front of the case that work just fine. That's actually how I'm connecting. I got a USB-C to Ethernet adapter, and then that's running to that 100-foot cable that goes downstairs. Because I want the option to remove the 100-foot cable, because I don't necessarily want a 100-foot Ethernet cable draped through my living room, which is currently what it's doing. So I have to take it down each week so that my wife doesn't feel like she's living in a construction site. But that's really my only option, because the builder of this home did not put any Ethernet jacks anywhere in this house, and it's really annoying. So I'm up on the second floor. When I move to my studio, whenever that gets built, then I will hardline from my router to my studio, and you better believe that there will be a plethora of Ethernet jacks around that room, where everything will be hardlined right to my service. And 2 weeks ago, or a little more than 2 weeks ago, they were putting a fiber line up this road, which means that sooner or later there will be service to this house. Matter of fact, we could probably check that out right now. See if any sort of maybe AT&T. What is it considered, broadband? Or no, it's AT&T internet. Let's see. I think they already have boxes here, so that might have been them putting in the fiber line. One would hope. Let's go to AT&T Fiber and shop AT&T Fiber. Internet for your entire house. I do like Starlink, but I would like to switch it to a roaming plan where I could just take this dish down and put it on the road. So let me put in my home address here. I'm not going to do this live on camera. Ooh, my address is finally registered. That's good news. It's not available at your home address. Get notified. All right, let's let's get notified of. I'll put in a throwaway email here. All right. We'll stay in the loop. See if AT&T shows up. Now, we could also, it may be Verizon. Who knows? I certainly don't. TRS to XLR quarter-inch adapters do exist. Ethernet over power line works pretty well. What sort of service, though? Like, everywhere I look here, it's like, no, we don't have service to your address. But they did just put in a fiber line, so I'm hopeful. Yep, your home service is currently not. Yeah. Yoink. All right. I will join the wait list. Internet services near me. Maybe we'll just put in who else is out there. Nope, nothing yet. Doesn't look like it. I'm sure that they'll come through with fanfare about like, hey, we're now available in your neighborhood. But they did literally, and I know this, I know that it was a fiber line because they parked the giant spool on my front lawn. It's not a lawn. It's a pile of dirt right now. They parked the giant spool on my front of my property, and I went up to it. I pulled the line out and I was like, oh, it's fiber optic cable. That's cool. So yeah, it's an outdoor rated fiber optic. It goes to a box just down the road and then it goes up past our house. So here's hoping that we're going to have fiber internet service here soon. And the reason is because they're putting in multiple homes along this road. And so the reason that they're doing that is they're probably going to have service to the area, which is great. I do like Starlink. I mean, Starlink has worked pretty much every day. It took a little to get up and running, but it has worked pretty much any weather, any day. If I put it on a battery backup, it will work in power outages. It's kind of nice to have, but I think I would want to switch it to a roaming plan. And then if power goes out for a week, I could just fire up the generator and enable the roaming plan, which you can pause, right? But then you could also get the mini satellite and take it on the road and actually mount it to your car and use it that way. So, yeah, maybe. Maybe. We shall see. So I'm thinking I just need to get something like this. Now, you said TRRS to XLR quarter-inch adapters do exist. So maybe we will Google that. Let's find out here. TRRS to XLR -1. I need this to be 1/8 though. I don't need it to be quarter-inch. I need it to be 3.5. 3.5 to XLR. That would be better. The issue with that is I kind of don't want to. Well, I don't know. Do I? Do I want to come in on the Behringer? Yeah, I guess I could come in on a separate port on the Behringer. So the where is it? The jack that is on the receiver it's not TRRS. I think it's TRS if I'm not mistaken. So Rode Wireless Go, just the first one. All right, Rode Wireless Go. I have the original, this one. Who is messaging me? That's interesting. So everything that I do can be done remotely now. And my coworker just said, "Hey, we need to turn on the DMX lights full, probably for an event or something, or maybe they're doing like pictures." So, yeah, I can arrange that. So we switched over to Light Key, and we're using a USB DMX system, and he just asked me to turn them on, and I did. It took that long to do. Since maybe you didn't hear it ring, but it definitely took me less than 30 seconds, which is why I want everything digital, because I work about 45 minutes away from that location. And now I am able to take care of that within the minute, which I think is just amazing. But it's good stuff. It's nice. Well, what is going on, Mr. Phil? I am well. How are you doing, man? Thanks for stopping on by. Always appreciate that. Plain TRS to XLR also exists. It's a direct ring to pin configuration. So yeah, as I recall here, this is the little rig that I have, and they are really good. Like, I have this thing about Australian made products, because I used to work for one, and now I have Blackmagic products and I have Rode products, and they're all Australian. The replacement cable is TRRS to TRS. That's for a phone. But I think the output here is just TRS, if I'm not mistaken. Product description. TRS. So I just need XLR to TRS, basically. So if we go to XLR to TRS, it might be TRS to XLR, actually. TRS 3.5. Do I have one of these cables? I might already have one of these. I'm pretty sure I do. Okay. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I have one of these? The only issue is that the TRS end, whenever you're plugging in the TRS end of a cable like this, it's always so super heavy. And so if you hang it somewhere, it's always like wicked heavy. But I am quite certain that I already have one of these cables, and I will find it. It is, I think, in that box right over there, now that I think of it. Hey, Phil, all good, right? So it's almost quitting time for you, or is it? It probably is, because this is the same time the show used to be, and you were always wrapping up for the end of the day right around the time I was going live. So it's 4 or 5 o'clock over there. Good stuff. Always fun to have you around, man. Alrighty, I'm going to... Oh, I can go back to full screen here. So I think I have everything I might need to get this thing integrated into the 1820. Now, I don't particularly like going into the 1820. I like going... I have to do some kind of like magic to get everything kind of working correctly out of the audio interface into the X32 core, but not the end of the world. I can make that happen. It's nearly quitting time. It's about 5 p.m. in the UK. Right on. Well, it sounds like beer o'clock is what that sounds like. Hey, I'm going to make every effort to be at NAB next year, so hopefully you'll make it, and we'll run into each other finally. Coffee's still hot. Creamer is not curdled yet, so I'm almost done. But the Ember mug came through for me today. Good stuff. Yeah, so I was just talking with the group that I'm with, and the company I work for now, and talking about NAB, and like it'd be probably a good chance for us to see what's going on in the industry. And so they agreed that they'd like to try and go. Now April is a busy month for us in general, and so it will be the beginning of a very busy month. But hopefully I can operate a little ahead of schedule and have a lot of it done, and then we'd be able to go from there. That'd be great. I owe you a beer or three. No, I think we're even, man. I think we we did each other enough favors that you don't owe me anything, buddy. But we could definitely catch up after the show, or after a day at the show or whatever, and go from there. That does remind me, I was going to double check. So it is Thursday, the 24th, and I was just going to go over to B&H Photo and see if the X4 finally landed. I've been doing this every week since the what were we calling it? The AMA happened with Dan back at the beginning of the month, believe it or not. Now, when you type in X4, the item is coming soon. And so that means B&H does not have it yet. Free 2-day shipping when they get it. But, whoa. Sorry, my finger was twitching. That's weird. So when they get it, but this offer is a pre-sales offer. Maybe they're expecting them on the 27th, which would be it's just in a few days. That's on Sunday. Maybe they're expecting them by like Monday. So maybe this is a pre-order price. Honestly, this is the best price for this camera I have seen. Other places are asking full price tag for it. So if it exists, that's a great price. It is available for pre-order, but they currently don't have it. So on the show, I had asked Dan flat out on that show, hey, I'm looking for an X4. Where can I get one? He said, yeah, we're having some trouble getting it into the U.S. Expect it in the next 2 days, is what he said. So it has been pretty much 3 full weeks at this point, 3.5 full weeks, almost a month. So we're holding our breath. I won't hold my breath, but I'm hopeful that it will arrive soon. We'll put it that way. And Phil knows that I'm hopeful that it will arrive soon. Always seems NAB is the weekend after Easter. Not this year. NAB is the weekend before Palm Sunday. And so it's NAB, Palm Sunday, Easter, and then half of my company goes on vacation to Scotland for 2 weeks. So it's going to be a busy busy month, because we still go live, which means I'll be here and they will not. So we shall see how that goes. Oh, these 3D cameras. I would love to see one of these. What if these guys are at NAB? I've seen, obviously, the house walkthroughs that are taken on these cameras, but I'm not too sure how they can get away with charging $2,000 still for it. But it's a real estate professional camera for taking pictures. And if you did it for a living, you could use an Insta360 for a while, but then go to this. Speaking of Insta360, I am pretty gosh darn annoyed with this company. And I'll tell you why. First of all, this is not a $1,000 camera. This is $799 on Amazon. Now, Amazon sold out, and you can't buy them on the Insta360 website, which is a bit odd. So this may be the only one that you can buy these days. But I'm super annoyed with this company. And the reason I'm super annoyed is because of this piece of garbage. I don't know if it's just me, but did we not learn from the GoPro downfall? Action cameras are not a thing. There's such a small margin of people who need an action camera as often as they would want to pay $500 for a thing like this. But the average person is not going and doing actionable things worthy of being recorded ever. The X4 makes far more sense, which is probably why it's sitting up here at the top of the B&H website. The X4, Insta360 X4, okay, not the Bird Dog X4. I know it's confusing. The Insta360 X4 probably makes the most sense for the average person. I'm going on a trip. I want to take 360 video. I'm going to buy something like a sub $500, maybe $500, but it's going to be 8K and it's going to have a screen and it's going to be self-contained and I don't have to use an app if I don't want to, yada, yada, yada. However, so be that as it may, the Insta360 4K camera is probably what makes the most logical sense for the average consumer. If you're into, doing VR stuff and you spend a little money on your VR stuff and you want it to look good when you watch it after the fact, okay? You might be looking for a little higher end camera and you might want to find a 1-inch lens. This 1-inch 360 camera has yet to be refreshed in like 4 years. And I do not understand why it's not more of a priority for people who want higher level 360 video with a 1-inch sensor. That's not like 1 inch, by the way. It's a way of measuring. It's really deceptive. But having a 1-inch sensor that performs amazing in low light, why you wouldn't have the high-end Insta360 1-inch camera and the lower-end Insta360 X4. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. I don't know why it's not more of a priority than it is. So I'm kind of annoyed. I'm annoyed that you don't have a better 1-inch sensor. Insta360, I know you're not watching, but here it is. We're all waiting for the 1-inch refresh. That is the camera I want to buy. I don't want to spend $1,000 on it, mind you, but that is the camera that I want to buy. And the reason I want that is the low-level light performance, because you're going to shoot video all different times, especially when you're vacationing. You're doing things at all different times of the day. And so you want it to perform well in the daytime, which the X4 obviously does. You want it to perform well at nighttime, which the 1-inch sensor would dominate at low light levels. So that is one of the primary features of this camera. And yet it has yet to be refreshed in 3 or 4 years. It's actually a very old camera. And most of the reviews on YouTube compare the low light of the 4K of the X4 and the 1-inch camera, and they're comparable. But the 1-inch sensor still outperforms the X4 in low light. Now, it's not an 8K sensor. Okay, the 1-inch is a 6K sensor. And then when you stretch that into 360, it's actually like a 2.4 or something like that. Come out with the 8K 1-inch sensor. Maybe you're having trouble sourcing those parts. Maybe it wasn't a bit as big of a seller as you thought it was. It doesn't need to be modular. You don't have to worry about that. Make a solid body 1-inch lens, make it $799, and giddy up. Let's go. Because the guys that are doing VR, which there's not a lot of us, but that's the lens we want. I don't want the 8K not 1-inch lens. I want the 1-inch to do low light performance stuff. So if I run into money and my family decides to go on another vacation, a big vacation, I will be looking at buying a new 360 camera, because I currently have, I guess it's not up here, I currently have an Insta Evo, which you cannot buy anymore. The beautiful thing about the Evo was you could run 180 3D video, which is so stinking fun. I have videos from our cruise that are in 180, and they are really, really useful stuff. Let me look here and see if I can find those 360 videos or the 180 videos. I thought I put them Here they are. Let me see if I can just show them to you. I think this is a 180 video. Let me see what it looks like. I don't know if Media Player is going to be able to show it or not because it's quite a complex video. I think that's a 180. That's a 180. Or that's a 360 video. I think did I just do 360s on this? Maybe I just did 360s on this trip. It looks like it. Anyway, I know I did 180s here. 3D videos. See if I can open this. Okay. So I'll just mute this. And it's going to be flat, obviously, because you're not wearing a headset. But this is the idea, right? And you can see, you get two of these images, and they're just spaced apart perfectly to adapt to your eyes. And when you wear a headset, you can then see the depth of things and actually like it. So I was just kind of playing with it. This is back in 2019 where I wanted my daughter to see what it is that we were seeing. And she was 4 years old. And so she was not on the trip with us. She was at home with Grandma and Grandpa. And I was recording some videos of us walking around and doing things. Here's another one. It's my wife. There I am in the corner there. And the picture is pretty good. This is actually 1080. And so when you put it on your headset, it's like 360. It's rough. Or maybe 480. It's probably 480. But it's like you lose the detail that you otherwise are expecting, which is why you want that 8K camera, because you want to be able to see the detail all around. So things that are up close are pretty good, but things that are far away are pretty rough. So, there you go. So that's why you would want an 8K sensor, but you also kind of want the 1-inch sensor for the low light performance. And as I'm looking on right now on YouTube and whatever and comparing the two shots, and there's a really good YouTuber that does this, by the way. He does pretty much exclusively 3D stuff. His name is Ben. Let's see here. 360. Is it Ben? Yes, Ben Claremont. So this guy I trust pretty well for camera reviews, and he does a good comparison with the X4. He's doing a lot of editing stuff. Here we go. So X4 videos and the Insta X3, Insta X4, and the 1-inch, and he kind of compares the two. He does have a good video here somewhere between the two, because they announced the X4, and so he does like a full-on here are my impressions and everything. But if you're into 360 video or 180 3D video, this is a great little resource to follow. And I don't actually know why I'm not subscribed to his channel, because he's a good resource. So there you go. Anyway, so I'm a little annoyed with Insta360 because they made this announcement last week. They're like, everybody get ready, get ready. And I was like, oh, please be the announcement for the 1-inch refresh. And they came out with a stinking action camera. And it's so stupid. It's such a waste. Why spend any time in the action camera realm? There aren't enough people out there in the wild to make it worth your while to create an action camera. And quite frankly, Insta360, it's not even a 360 camera. Like, what are you doing? You're abandoning the whole premise of your company by creating this stupid action camera. Ooh, and the screen flips up. It's only $500. Like, what a waste. There's nothing 360 about this. It should be just an Insta Ace Pro. That's what it should be called. But why? What is this? What is the 360? It's not 360. Anyway. All right. I won't scream anymore about this, but I am really frustrated with Insta360. The announcement that they made back in April, and they were like, get ready. And I was like, here we go, 1-inch refresh. And they announced the X4. And at the end of that stupid live stream, which was clearly pre-programmed, which I thought was lame, they were like, all right, we're just getting started. And I was like, perfect, just getting started. Announce the 1-inch. And they're like, we can't wait to see what it is that you come up with next. And that was the end of the live stream. And I was so frustrated. Anyway, all good. There are some other 360 companies out there. I think Insta360 does a great job. I have one of their cameras. It does a pretty good job. It's not great. Like, it was a good first try. It's not great, but it does all right. So there you go. Alrighty. Well, I am... it's getting on here. It's 11:15, so I do need to sign off. I have to get everything ready for Sunday today because tomorrow we're going in to play around and set up with that brand new product that we talked about earlier, the ACCSOON CineView SE wireless video transmission system. And if you missed that part, just scrub to the beginning. Now, they say 1,200 square feet or 1,200 feet. Let's not go 1,200 feet. We're going to go maybe 30, maybe 50 feet away and test it. So we'll be well within the range of this product. And I'm pretty excited to see it perform because I know you kind of need to be in line of sight, first of all. And so that will make a difference when it comes to how it performs. But next week, I will give my full-on review about how it went, how it works, things that you got to know about setting up, things we ran into. I hope it comes with power supplies. If not, I'll take some USB-C devices and charge it that way. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this thing work. And I'll give you the review of the app, which I did download here today, but I didn't do anything else with. So let's just see how easy it is to jump around in the app. We're going to accept. We're going to allow it to send me notifications. And then it looks like you have to select your product that you're using. And so we are going to be using CineView and then allow it to search for networks. And that's all it took for me to get into the app. So you just select the device that you're using and then it loads up all this stuff. And there are a ton of features. Oh my goodness. So there's like a bar at the top. Here we go. There's a bar at the top that shows all the things that you can do. And so pretty happy with having that. You can record onto your device if you'd rather. I'm going to be using my iPad, but I will also pull it up on the phone. But you can record and yeah, there's all sorts of stuff here. Wow. We can put grids up, which I will need. Oh, and there's a landscape mode and there's a vertical mode. Well, that's good. I'm glad. We're going to put a whole bunch of stuff on here. But the big things are zebras and peaking. Those are the big ones that I want to be able to use. And so I will... Oh, and you can clear all the options. So it's... Bring it all back. I know you can't really see that very well. But you can clear the options, bring them back. That's cool. I like that. If I click record, don't prompt this again. Some cameras might not output HDMI during recording. That's fine. Allow it to access photos. You need to connect a device. Okay, cool. So what about... Oh, you can stream this to like straight to Facebook, straight to YouTube, custom RTMP stream. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Okay. So I might be able to... I should download the NDI app so I can use my phone as a screen share. But anyways, I'm pretty stoked about this. I think that this is going to be a great little app that we're going to... You can do vector scopes. Jeez, okay. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that this is looking. I think this is going to be a great resource. And... oh, here are all the options for peaking, for grids, color range, overlay. Wow. All right. So yeah, you can, oh, there, focus, peaking rings, or peaking levels. That's what I want right there. So yeah, this is going to be great. I'm pretty excited about how easy that app actually works without you being connected to a device, which is nice because it gives you a chance to kind of familiarize yourself with it. So big fan of that. That's for sure. Looks like it's going to be a good product. So, all right, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Always appreciate it. Yeah, invite your family and friends next time, and we'll hang out together. Next week, we'll do the review of the product. So we're going to be talking about how this went, whether or not it was as great as I think it's going to be. And I got some high expectations, so I'll let you know where it let me down. But yeah, definitely tune in next time, Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. And we will see you all in the next one, where there will be coffee and there will be tech chatter, and of course, soapboxes will be stood upon. So hopefully you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.